薩瓦迪卡ทุกคน，Hello， 大家好，我係阿 Lia 啊。奧運會好精彩啊！恭喜所有得獎或者唔得獎嘅運動員啦。其實入到場已經好勁噶啦。嗱，咁我呢就喺2019年嘅1月份開始呢，我係第一個視頻啦，去報導泰國新聞啊，分享泰國生活簽證嘅人嚟嘅。如果呢有跟開我嘅朋友都知噶啦。而最近嘅1年呢，亦都有啲前輩跟住我去報道嘅，不過呢就好似重點就爭少少，咁所以呢近排呢我就再出返嚟呢同大家講一講泰國嘅新聞，同埋聚焦返呢喺泰國發生緊啲咩事，由我嘅角度呢再同大家講下泰國嘅今天。咁今日嘅確診人數呢，大概有19000幾啦，但係如果確診嘅人數唔減到一半呢，嗱，講真，我都好難相信呢可以全面控制呢個疫情嘅。咁但係啦，明天會更好啦，當然希望。咁所以呢，我要睇多2個星期，睇下有啲咩跡象，睇下呢嗰啲數據係如何啦。咁有啲朋友亦都問我啦，泰幣係咪可以換得啦？因為最近呢，泰幣呢個兌換率啊就創歷史新低，又或者新高，我都唔知點講啊。總之4.2幾啦咁。咁我覺得呢，其實而家疫情同埋兌換率已經掛鈎咗啦，所以呢，泰國好，泰幣就會好。前幾年泰幣呢仲對緊4.8嘅，咁而家呢都叫升咗噶啦。咁嚟緊會點呢？咁嚟緊如果國家呢唔係話大力去控制泰幣嗰個匯率嘅話呢，因為其實咁樣係唔得噶嘛，國際公約。咁呢可能呢有機會係會跟住疫情嘅情況呢而上上落落少少啦，我諗都唔會好多嘅。嗱，我哋香港人睇新聞呢，就唔中意睇死一個台嘅，就宏觀360度嘅。今日阿 Lee 呢就消化晒好多唔同類型嘅新聞，再綜合翻呢話俾大家聽，到底泰國最近呢，我哋應該聚焦啲係乜嘢地方？咁所報道嘅事梗係關你事，又或者你應該要知道嘅事啦。好啦，繼上2集呢人氣非常之高嘅分享之後呢，我呢而家開始呢，就繼續同你哋講下泰國嘅疫情啦。不過講之前呢，因為今次呢上半部分我係用咗一個英文嘅新聞去報導啦，咁所以呢，如果大家想知道字幕啊，聽清楚啲呢，可以用 YouTube 自動翻譯嗰個功能去揀翻嘅，咁你就可以睇到字幕噶啦。咁到底喺2020年東京奧運會閉幕嘅同一日，泰國有冇特別嘢發生？曼谷市中心發生緊啲咩事呢？
A haze of tear gas drifts through the streets of Bangkok as Thais angry with the government's handling of the coronavirus pandemic face off against police.
Ducking for cover in Bangkok as police fire water cannon, rubber bullets and tear gas to stop protesters reaching Government House.
The Southeast Asian nation kept numbers low in 2020 through strict social distancing and border controls. However, the economic impact from losing out on tourism has been severe, and the baht has dropped 9% against the dollar since the end of last year, with major consequences for industries and services relying on the sector. What's more, vaccine rollouts have been sluggish. Thailand has so far failed to secure adequate supplies to meet its target of inoculating 50 million of its 66 million strong population by the end of the year, a situation compounded by the surging Delta variant and local manufacturing issues with the AstraZeneca vaccine. Even as the government tries to tamp down on dissent, it's extended coronavirus restrictions further, saying they'll be reviewed later in the month.
And Bangkok is getting ready for another busy shift. As Thai hospitals buckle under the strain of coronavirus patients, they're run off their feet. Every day they receive around 100 calls from desperate COVID patients unable to get help. We realize how hard-working and how tired doctors and nurses are, What we're trying to do is help relieve some of the burden. Before, all cases had to be sent to hospital. Today, there are no hospital beds, so we volunteer to help out. Their first call takes them to a woman who's having trouble breathing. They provide her with an oxygen tank. In Bangkok alone, around 20,000 people are currently waiting for a hospital bed. After keeping COVID at bay when it first emerged, Thailand is now going through its worst stretch of the pandemic. Fueled by the Delta variant, daily new infections are going up and up, hitting another record high on Monday. Vaccinations are progressing at a slow pace. Only about 5% of the population is fully immunized. This vaccination centre in Bangkok was overrun after it started accepting walk-ins last week. Public anger has forced the head of the National Vaccine Institute to apologise for mishandling the vaccination campaign. He also promised to ramp up vaccine procurement by joining the COVAX distribution scheme, so Thailand will start receiving vaccine donations next year. For those risking their lives working on the front line of the pandemic, that will seem like a long way off.
Thai health officials set out on a COVID-19 test and treatment mission. Although close to Bangkok, some of these areas are only accessible by boat, especially during the rainy season. Urban centres have seen the highest infection rates, but increasingly suspected cases are being reported in remote and rural districts. And health services are being stretched to breaking point.
Currently, I'm worried because we don't have enough health officials to take care of patients, even though case numbers and those awaiting to be cured keep rising.
With government services under strain, some Thais are taking matters into their own hands. This group of volunteers are going door to door, testing oxygen levels for those that show COVID-19 symptoms. With many impoverished communities suffering from high levels of infection, they're learning to look after themselves.
One of our friends died. He couldn't get any help. He couldn't call anyone. And we don't want that to happen to anyone ever again.
Hospital beds in the Thai capital are now so scarce that the health service has outfitted a special COVID train to transport patients for treatment elsewhere. More than 100 patients can be transported to 7 provincial capitals where there are still beds available. Along Airport, a cargo warehouse is being converted into a temporary field hospital. 1,800 cardboard beds ready for new COVID-19 patients. But with nearly 3,000 new infections in the capital every day, even this won't hold back the tide of the fourth wave. Tony Cheng, Al Jazeera, Bangkok.
機場部分嘅地方話改咗做醫療或者隔離中心啦，但係啱啱呢 BTS 呢又開咗淺紅同埋深紅色嘅線，話3個月免費乘搭喎。唉，不過我諗暫時都應該冇乜人搭㗎啦。疫苗方面呢，有好多朋友呢都非常之關注嘅，直頭呢就問我究竟泰國呢幾多人打咗啲咩牌子嘅針呢？而家係點呢？咁嗱，好老實講啦，我諗都係得我呢一個視頻講嘅啫，其他視頻應該唔會同你講啦。就係呢，過去幾個月發生咩事，如果跟開我嘅影片都知道啦。由3月底打嘅針到依家。咁成績有目共睹啦，所以要封城啦。咁但係你話啦，英國嗰邊歐洲嗰邊係咪好好呢？咁但係而家都開始封城喎。咁呢隻 Delta 嘅變種病毒呢，我就覺得引致疫苗大戰 2.0 啊！大家又係要鬥快呢，諗隻疫苗出嚟呢對付 Delta 嘅。咁而家泰國嗰啲數字啱唔啱嘅呢？咁我睇翻唔同嘅報章啦、大學啦，佢哋嘅研究數出嚟嘅嘢呢，哇，有成20-30萬上落嘅喎。咁邊個先至啱呢？咁都有啲好消息嘅，就係收到輝瑞嗰150萬支疫苗之後呢，泰國政府就即刻發放去唔同省府嘅醫療機構啊。咁而家首先呢，就係所有醫護要打先嘅。打針方面嘅政策呢，其實就隨住收到美國嘅輝瑞呢，都轉咗政策啦。同醫護呢，就一係就加針啦， 加多支針啦，然後轉針啦，一係呢就溝針啦。本身呢就打咗1、2針其他牌子嘅，而家呢再溝下其他牌子咁。嗱，又係有警告噶啦，醫生就警告咗唔好溝針，亦都有醫護喺溝針之後呢就過身嘅。泰國呢一啲非官方嘅網頁呢就公布咗而家泰國呢賣疫苗嗰個價錢啊。第一行呢就係嗰個疫苗嘅牌子啦，第二行呢就係嗰個價錢，第三行呢就係需要打幾多劑嘅，而價錢呢就係以每劑去計嘅。咁我哋睇到啦，譬如話外國嘅疫苗同埋中國嘅疫苗，咁個價錢都爭得幾遠嘅。如果呢個表嘅數據係真呢，第一位就係科興啦，最貴啊，第二位 Moderna， 第三位輝瑞。我呢就只不過一個區區嘅居泰港人啫，咁但係呢，遇着呢個泰國爆發世紀疫情呢，實在都係好無奈嘅，亦都好怕感染咗之後呢都冇藥醫，但係都冇辦法啦，因為呢有時啲嘢都係整定嘅，好似呢個女仔咁，就喺社交網上面呢申訴自己患咗病，但係冇床位，唔能夠治療，要喺屋企好似等死個感覺，都上咗泰國啲頭條版㗎。暫時都冇開心嘢同大家分享啊，不如我哋轉一轉話題去布吉啦。布吉嘅沙盒呢喺8月2號就宣布封島嘅，就封2個星期去到8月16號㗎，我記得。咁呢大小傳媒都紛紛報導，究竟布吉嘅沙盒呢會唔會繼續呢？會唔會突然嗌停呢？因為之前呢就話如果1個禮拜之內有90個人呢係確診嘅話呢，沙盒就要冚蓋㗎啦，嗌停㗎啦。但係呢2日呢，政府就宣布啦，唔想嗌停啊，因為咁樣呢係唯一拯救布吉嘅方法嚟嘅。咁詳細呢可能要另外開條片睇啦。但係呢喺咁悲壯嘅環境之下呢，布吉好多人失業啦，好多人冇生計啦。咁呢喺呢2日呢，頭條方面亦都係講咗有一單謀殺案嘅。謀殺案係啲咩呢？呢一單係布吉嘅第一單沙盒開始之後嘅謀殺案嚟嘅。有一個瑞士嘅旅客俾人發現伏屍喺瀑布旁邊。阿 Li，你使唔使咁嘅語氣啊？正常翻啲得唔得啊？咁又係，我又唔係想做啲咩煽情嘢，不過咁我就覺得呢單嘢呢都係悲劇嚟嘅。悲劇之一呢，就係被殺嗰個真係無辜噶嘛，悲劇之二呢，就係其實殺人嗰個呢，都本身唔係殺人犯嚟嘅喎，係平民嚟嘅。不過真係太窮啦，因為呢喺布吉嘅原居民嚟嘅，佢係長期失業啊，變咗冇收入。本身呢，佢就去瀑布嗰邊呢，諗住摘下花賣下俾人嘅啫。但係因為呢，真係窮到褲穿窿，見到有個遊客自己游緊水，然後隔離呢就有個背囊喎，咁一時起咗貪念啦，諗住去攞個背囊抄下個背囊睇下有啲咩嘅啫，點知呢，攞咗個銀包之後呢，就俾個旅客發現啦，發現咗之後呢，就大家有爭執啊、糾纏啊咁，然後嗱按報章講啊嚇，我都係直述嘅啫，就疑犯呢，就將佢係勒死嘅，但係唔係話真係有心將佢勒死嘅。咁最後呢，而家呢，就告佢謀殺同埋搶劫。跟住仲悲劇嘅呢，就係呢，其實佢偷咗啲錢呢，多少佢都要嘔翻出嚟噶啦。問題係其實個旅客嘅銀包都係得300匹嘅啫，咁值唔值呢？係唔係咁樣就即係要坐監喎？即係我覺得呢，如果佢之前有心思呢，就一定唔會行呢條路咯。 好啦，咁今集咧就講到呢度先。如果大家咧係真係支持阿 Lee 嘅話咧，記住 CSL 啦，最緊要係訂閱同埋 share， 因為我發覺咧真係好多人咧仲未知道我嘅頻道喎。我做啲咩好咧？大家有冇咩意見呢？又或者有咩改善嘅地方呢？話俾我聽啊！同埋中意聽泰國啲乜嘢新聞呢，都可以同我講㗎。好啦，拜拜。